Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to Percy Jackson Season 1, Episode 7, titled We Find Out the Truth, Sort of. Our heroes journey across the underworld and bargain for their safety with the God of the Dead. So, I was going to say God of Death, but that's not correct, and it's also not how it's written in the synopsis, so yeah. Anyway, going just off of the title, we're going to be getting 3 chapters out of this because chapter 19 is we find out the truth, sort of, and chapter 16 was we take a zebra to Vegas. There is one chapter that, if they don't have the time, they may skip over, which is going to upset one of the people that I watch breakdowns of this for. And yes, he's been upset by a lot of this, but yeah, that's apparently the one thing that he's been looking forward to. Like how the one thing I was looking forward to was the Lotus Hotel, and then they did what they did in the last episode. Turns out I share the general consensus of that's the one thing the movie did better. And this is me saying this. I shit on that movie every chance I get. And I still have issues with the whole Poseidon interference in the movie. But that was a lot closer to the book than what we got in the last episode. Also, apparently it wasn't VR that Grover was in. It was one of those shooting gallery games where he was a deer shooting at rednecks. I was sort of right, just wrong medium. But yeah. Anyway, let's get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. Also, I have a fair idea as to where this episode's going to end based on the thumbnail and one shot from the trailer, which means we're probably going to get. I mean, yeah, that does work out with the title. See, here's the thing. Homie's last episode was great. Everyone agrees with that. We should not have gotten the May Castellan information this early. Like, okay, I guess we're not skipping over that chapter. Weird that we're starting here, though. Yeah, this isn't gonna go well. Is that death? Oh, that's a little different. Because it's meant to be DOA recordings. Okay, that works. I thought he used the water in the waterbed to pull him like he did to Nancy. Interesting. They let him live. So in the book, when they get to LA, they get accosted by some teens at night, and Percy pulls out Riptide, slashes at them. They're pure mortal, so the sword goes straight through them. They then chase these three down an alley, and they stumble into Krusty's store and trying to hide. Then they get brought into the trap and everything, Grover and Annabeth. And then Percy has to trick Krusty's into lying into one of his own beds. And they cut off his head, which cancels all the magic that's holding Annabeth and Grover down, stretching them to fit the beds and everything. He's still squeezing the stress ball. Now, this is one place where I think it may have actually worked for them to be told. Like, if the narrator, when he speaks to her and she gives him the pearls at the end, she may have said, "Go seek out Krusty's waterbed, the son of Poseidon for Krusty's. He's got a door that he's got." Okay, that works. Because it was DOA recording studios, not Krusty's waterbed. Hmm. I would say Karen. Because in DOA, they actually bribed Karen with some drachmas to get on his next boat. Yeah, we don't really need you squeezing that all the way through Asphodel and that. Hmm. He's a puppy. Yeah, that's the problem when you've got three heads and they try and go different directions. So this would be the title Annabeth Does Obedience School. She actually uses the inflatable ball from Waterland that I was talking about a couple episodes ago to play fetch with him. Because he's meant to be on the other side of the gate to Asphodel, and yeah, so they sneaks through, the alarm goes off, and Cerberus comes, and then she has to distract him. It's a squeaky toy. Oh, why you throw it in the sticks? Cerberus can't go get it. At least I'm assuming that's the sticks. I wonder if we're going to get glimpses of Fields of Punishment and the Elysium. That's it. Because I know he did make mention of them. Well, I did say that we're going to lose one. I mean, as the sole income provider of their family. Where are all the shades? It's meant to be full of um dead, just milling about in like basically purgatory, which is what Asphodel basically is. I don't really know they're dead, just going about. Well, there's my answer. I do wonder how this is going to work with them being stationary. For an event later down the line if they get to it. I mean, yeah. Field of Punishment are for those who do exceptionally bad. Asphodel is for those who do pretty much nothing, good or bad. And then Elysium is for those who do good. Um, Several things I can think of. That is big. Interesting that they're being hunted by Cerberus because they were actually hiding from the Furies at this point. The hell was that? Or was that her leaving the underworld, I guess? Where are they now? I have a feeling I know, but wasn't there meant to be a cave? And this is why they really should have brought in the fake feet. And down into the pit they go. Now what is it? They've taken the scene off of Percy. I thought he wasn't going to be there anymore when they cut back, but well, yeah, I mean, you should probably have an accommodation for those who can't grow to several stories high. Not what I was expecting. Definitely not what I was expecting from Hades. That is ironic wording. Because holding grudges is Hades' thing. It definitely does not match you. That's fair. No, no, he's still there. The fuck? I'm going to assume that's who I think it is, but the fuck is this? That's fair. She knows the stories, so she knows how they're normally treated. I mean, he is called the Stormbringer. So I get the whole every time she's trying to reach out to him, there's rain. But when you see the rain falling down, you think it's Zeus. Okay, that was a odd episode. Like, so many of the places we explored are vastly different from how they were described in the book. Well, yeah. I explained Procruste's store at the start of the episode. Basically, you go in, he's got these waterbeds, all of them 7 foot long, I think. And basically, he's like, try it out, see how you fit. And if you're not exactly 7 foot tall, he snaps his fingers, says a code word that I can't remember, and ropes lash out from all the corners to stretch you until you're 7 foot. The problem is, human bodies aren't built to be stretched that far, and so they die during the process. And if you're, say, already over 7 foot, when the ropes bind you and center you in the bed, he then comes along with an axe and hacks off all the bits that are over the ends, which, since you're being centered in the bed, is part of your head, which kills you. So when they go in there and he's like, hey, why don't you just take a load off on this bed while those thugs run by searching for you? Annabeth and Grover sit down, he traps them in the bed. Percy then tricks him onto the bed. Basically, while they're being stretched, he gets into a discussion with Krusty, and basically it's like, what happens if you're over the 7 foot? And he's like, how does that happen and all that. Basically, he's asking for a live demonstration. Then when Krusty lies down in the bed, he snaps it. He's like 7'1" or something. Well, obviously, he'd be more than that because his whole head hangs off. And then, because it's only the person who bound you that can unbind it, he tells Krusty to give him the word. No, it's not the person that binds you. It's if you're bound, you can't unbind it. But he's like, give me the word to unbind you. He unbinds his friends. They cut Krusty's head off. They then leave, find DOA Recording Studios, which is obviously Dead on Arrival Recording Studios, where they see Charon is running the front desk. Basically, Percy tempts him by saying, oh, Hades doesn't pay you well, we've got all this drachma, just let us through, we'll put in a good word, we'll get you a promotion, like, you're doing all this hard work, no thanks or anything. Meanwhile, we've just got this pouch of drachma that we stole from Medusa, and he's just slowly putting more coins onto the pile while he's trying to tempt Charon. Eventually, he lets them through on the next ferry. They travel the Styx, get to the gate. They go through, alarms blare because they're not dead. This is where we see where the pathway splits off between Asphodel, the Field of Punishments, and Elysium. Like, you can also see from the distance the Isle of Bless in the center. And then, so, get chased. They encounter Cerberus. Annabeth has the Beast Ball. She does obedience school. Like, she gets him to sit, gets him to stay and everything. She throws the ball to him to distract him. There's actually this funny bit where the middle head catches it and the other two heads are just snapping, trying to take the ball off of him. And then, as they run away, they make comment in the book of they can hear Cerberus' sad whine as they leave, calling for its new master or possibly another ball. Yeah. Then they go through Asphodel, which is like full of ghosts. Like, it's over encumbered with ghosts. And, well, more shades, I guess, would be the more appropriate term. And it's sparsely populated by these trees, well, the dead trees, the white bark and everything. And eventually, they hear the Furies because word's gotten out that there are people who are not dead in Asphodel who got past Cerberus, so they have to hide in one of these trees until the Furies fly past. Then, at another time, they have to sneak into a cave to evade the Furies. And as they're walking through, the ground keeps turning more sandy and rocky. It gets more sloped down. Eventually, the winged shoes, which are on Grover's feet, start pulling him. Annabeth and Percy try and grab him. He tries to scramble on the rocks. Can't get purchase or anything. One of the shoes flies off, which is enough to slow him down for them to catch up to him and get the other shoe off him. Because that's the problem with Grover. His horse hooves, not horse hooves, goat hooves, he has to pack shoes in a specific way, basically false feet, that he can then wedge his hoof into, and that keeps the shoe on. They never really mention this in the show so far. But yeah, that's how one manages to tug itself off, and then they get the other one off. They realize that, hey, we're on the edge of Tartarus right now. Kronos' voice calls out, or tries to suck them in. It's described like the pit is taking a deep breath in, and they barely escape. They go back through, they get into Hades' palace, which is, as we later find out, is basically an inverted version of Olympus, but in color-wise. Like, he's been banished from Olympus, so he built his own Olympus with blackjack and hookers and, I mean, yeah, I guess that would be down there, but it's meant to be like a maze work of corridors with dead guards on each doorway. There's meant to be like pairs of guards from different eras in history and all of that. They get to Hades' throne room, and they're like, hey, don't have the bolt, I'm just here to get my mother. Hades is very different personality-wise than in this show. He's like, why would you come here if you don't have the bolt? Do you really think I'm going to give you your mother? I don't even want the bolt. On the same day that the bolt was stolen, the winter solstice, my helm of darkness was stolen as well. I want that back. That's what I'm accusing you of, not the bolt. If you also have the bolt, give it to me, then I can bargain with my brother. I don't want a war. As you saw, the underworld's already overcrowded. That's just going to give me more work to do. If there's a war, a lot of people die. I have to then do all the work of processing all those souls. I don't want that. This is overcrowded. I just want peace. And then Percy's like, I don't have your bolt. Why didn't you say that your helm was taken? The Olympians already think shit of me. Why would I tell them that my piece of power has also been taken? And it was foreshadowed in the St. Louis Arch chapter when they're going through, and he's like, and Percy's like, hey, doesn't Hades have a helm of darkness that lets him turn into shadows? How do we know he's not listening into us right now? And they're like, we don't. And then we get to Underworld, and it's like, Hades doesn't have his helm of darkness. But, yeah. And so then, while they're in Hades' throne room, Percy notices that his bag is suddenly heavier. And he opens it and sees that, oh shit, the Master Bolt's in here. Fuck, I've accidentally brought it. That's when they put it together with the shoe who's dragging them towards the pit, the bag, and all that. That's meant to be the same person, drags them into the pit, and it's like, we're not going to give you the bolt, Hades. We're going to take this up to Zeus. We'll try and get your helmet back as well. They leave the underworld, get back onto the beach, and yeah, they encounter Ares. Because Ares is the one who gave them the backpack that just so happened to magically while they were in the underworld, have the bolt. But, yeah. So, the voice in the pit tries to drag them in through the magic shoes because it thinks that that'll also bring it the bolt, because either Grover goes down in the pit and then they go down with him, because he's not meant to be able to take the shoes off while he's in proximity to the pit. So they'll try and stop him, it'll drag them all down. Or the person with the shoes is going to be wearing the backpack, in which case it's just one person that needs to be dragged. But yeah. And so the next episode, it's going to be the final 3 chapters. And I don't know how this is going to go. Because while I do like the way in which the underworld was depicted, it was very different. And I wasn't really fond of Hades' throne room. Like, it's just a random slab of stone that he's decided to put his throne upon. It's meant to be like a dark Olympus and everything. And that's not what I expected from Hades. Like, so here's the thing. This is somewhat of a spoiler. Like, it's a smaller one, but it's a spoiler in the fact that what Hades said is very ironic, considering children of Hades, their fatal flaw is holding grudges. He says, "Oh, I don't hold grudges. I just want to be left alone." All that, like, his fatal flaw. We see that in book 5, that Hades holds grudges, and that gets passed down to his children, because there's a flashback where one of his children is talking to him, and it's like, "Hey, my problem is I hold grudges too much. I get that from you." And Hades just turns around and is like, "I am above that petty things like fatal flaws and that. I am a god." And it's like, no, you're really not. But yeah, so the irony that he says he doesn't hold grudges and that. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to touch upon when I was doing the analysis of the episode is during the Sally and Poseidon scene, I fully thought that he was going to be the one to suggest her getting with a just a regular human to help mask the scent of Percy's godly blood, and that led to her getting with Gabe and all of that. I thought there was going to be Poseidon who gave her the idea, knowing how monsters work. But I was genuinely surprised when that didn't happen. So, anyway, back to whatever I was talking about. Also, it's never explicitly been said that gods can't take other gods' symbols of power in the show yet. Like, sure, they thought, "Oh, Clarice stole it for her dad," and that. But they never said why they came to that conclusion instead of, "Oh, Ares just took it himself." And it's the fact that gods literally cannot take another god's symbol of power. They can wield it, but they can't take it. So that's why Zeus thinks that it's Percy, that Poseidon got his son to do it, because Poseidon couldn't have done it himself. And I'm pretty sure that was said early on in the book. But anyway, the next episode is being set up as a sword fight against the god of war. And yeah, so I'll catch you in the next one.